This warrant that you took out, sir, you charged him with murder, the murder of Shamal Drinks, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Any indication at all, if we're talking about planning something, is there any indication at all that anyone would have known that Shamal Drinks was going to show up at the gas station at that time?
No.
In fairness, you did say participate.
Yes.
In the warrant, but you said by shooting Shamal Drinks.
That's correct.
And your contention is that video, that FedEx video, will back that up ultimately.
That's my conclusion from my investigation, yes.
Okay, cool. All right, so did you ask Detective Bender to run LPRs on any other specific cars that you may or may not have seen in any of those videos?
I couldn't ask her to run something I didn't see, and there was no other cars. No.
No other cars that piqued your interest?
No, sir.
Okay.
Wait a minute. So you want us to believe that you didn't see the other cars plus the person walking in the dog? Man.
If you're new, make sure y'all hit that notification bell, that like, share, comment, and subscribe. Grab a seat. We finna dig deep. What's up, YouTube family? Welcome back to the channel. As always, I'm your host, Jay. And man, oh man, we definitely got to talk about this YSL RICO trial update. Now, just when things seemed like they were heading in one direction, we've hit a major twist. One that could actually spell serious trouble for one of the remaining defendants, SB, also known as Shannon Stillwell. Now, in this video, we'll definitely break down and go over the evidence that they're actually using against SB with this actual case, knowing that they've been tirelessly working just to try to connect dots. Ask yourself, was this the evidence that they needed to say that this defendant was actually the one responsible for the shot? Man, before we dig deep, y'all make sure y'all tap that notification bell, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed, and definitely tap that like button to help the channel continue to grow. Man, y'all know the vibes. Grab a seat. Definitely gotta dig deep.
You still see the red vehicle and white vehicle both at the front.
Yes.
So let's dig. Now, as you know, the state, as I said, has definitely been working tirelessly to try to connect the dots with Shannon to this tragic incident involving Shamal Drink. Now, piecing together every detail from that fateful night, well, today, they actually introduced new evidence that actually ties Shannon almost directly to that rental car, the Audi, that was allegedly used during this actual incident.
Is the Audi still here?
Yes, ma'am.
Off camera.
That's correct.
And there's a red car pulling up.
Yes.
And are we at?
See the red car pulls out on Windsor Street, exit, the Audi follows directly behind, and then the white Ford Fusion falls in behind the Audi.
Looking at what's in the minutes 117 BB, where's this surveillance video from?
This is from the FedEx building. It's on the west side of Windsor. The top left-hand corner is where you see the light shining. That's the intersection, the red light intersection just before you go under I-20 at Windsor Street.
And is this the light right here where my arm, where the hand is circling?
Yes. The car that just pulled up to the light now is stopped. That's the red vehicle.
This part right here?
Yes. The Audi, the first car to follow the red car out is the Audi, the white Audi. It's right next to it.
That right here?
Yes. And then the Ford Fusion is right to the right of that.
That right here.
That's correct.
Now, is there traffic going in the opposite direction where the cars are stopped right now?
Yes. There's traffic now trying to go onto I-20 eastbound.
And so the car where Mr. Drinks and the two white cars are a red light.
That's correct. It's red light now. And the Audi takes off through traffic, through the red light, as well as the white car, the Fusion.
So the Audi Fusion go through the red light.
Well, the Audi did. Yes, ma'am.
And was there still oncoming traffic coming as they were going through that light?
Yes, there was. And then that car did a U-turn, which is a little odd.
Why do you say it was odd?
I don't know if that what they witnessed or if they heard anything, but it's suspicious to me that at that particular time, since the red car no longer does not move, and it was around the same time that the murder occurred, that vehicle might have been privy to some information. It's my assumption.
Were you able to locate or find it?
Say again?
Were you able to determine what vehicle that was? That
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Now, when you approached the vehicle, the red vehicle, when you got on scene, were there any defects to the back of the vehicle?
All were on the driver's side.
But driver's side, passenger side?
I'm sorry, the passenger side of the vehicle, yes. I don't recall any in the rear.
And is it, excuse me, is now the car still stationary?
Yes, it stays, it does not move anymore. It stays there till we get there. So the Audi comes in, backs into the parking space.
Bottom of the video, is there a timestamp on the video? Can you see it?
Yes, it says 21:51, which is, it's 9:50, 9:51 p.m.
And is it on March 14, 2022?
Yes.
Now, the state, in my opinion, is definitely out for blood when it comes to these last two defendants. But here's the twist. The defense is also out for blood. Now, here's the situation. Now, the state attempted to introduce the unsolved demise of one of the victims in the trial, Mr. Drink. Now, the state is bent on pinning this incident on SB, but his attorney, YSL is on his A game. And while the state is trying to pin this incident on SB, his attorney is busy trying to clear his name in hopes of him actually being free. Let's dig.
Fusion arrives at the gas pump, and the driver gets out, walks inside. 21:52, 11 seconds or thereabouts. Driver with Fusion in the beige jacket, hoodie, green hoodie coming in. He comes in, and he buys something for the driver of the Audi in the pink hat. And the passenger from the Ford Fusion comes in, and the driver of the Audi interacts with him, indicating to me that they knew each other. And then the passenger exits with the other two drivers. 21:53, 9:53. The driver of the Fusion and the passenger walk back to the Fusion.
All right. This warrant that you took out, sir, for the rest of Mr. Stillwell, you charged him with murder, the murder of Shamal Drinks, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And you specifically charged him with the shooting of Shamal Drinks, correct?
I'd have to look at the wording, but I think he used the word partaking.
May I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
We're looking at a copy of the warrant that you took out. Assist you in remembering the wording.
Sure.
Grab the wrong one.
Yes.
Okay. In fairness, you did say participate.
Yes.
In the warrant, but you said by shooting Shamal Drinks.
That's correct.
Okay. On 3/14/2022.
That's correct.
Okay. So specifically, your allegation in that warrant is that Mr. Stillwell was the shooter of Shamal Drinks, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You have BP video from the corner of Windsor and Fulton Street, correct?
Yes.
Clear video.
It's very good. Yeah.
And it shows my client wearing a Pink Floyd hoodie and a pink hat. And it shows Mr. Guamarvius Nichols, correct?
Yes.
And it shows Mr. Miles Farley, correct?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And you had that video, and then you also have these rental records of renting the car on that day. Now, let me ask you this. Is there any indication at all, if we're talking about planning something, is there any indication at all that anyone would have known that Shamal Drinks was going to show up at the gas station at that time?
No.
Okay.
Not that I know of.
Okay, do you know where Shamal Drinks was coming from?
No.
Okay. And then you have video from the FedEx, correct?
I do.
Okay, and that shows Windsor Street.
Yes.
And you maintain that that video shows that my client in his white Audi pulled up next to Shamal Drinks' car.
Yes.
And you maintain that that video shows that my client shot Shamal Drinks.
Participated. Yes.
Okay. I mean, your theory is that my client was driving.
Yes.
Okay. And your theory is that the shot was fired out of the driver's side of the car.
Oh, the Audi. Yes.
Yeah. Your theory is that Shannon Stillwell was in that white Audi and shot Shamal Drinks at that stoplight.
Yes.
And your contention is that video, that FedEx video, will back that up ultimately.
That's my conclusion from my investigation. Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's go back to where this investigation started. evening of 3/14/22.
Okay.
Okay? And you see this red car with this gentleman inside who's sadly deceased, correct?
Yes.
And you arrived before the body was removed, correct?
That's right.
Okay. Now, this is your crime scene. I know that you weren't the first one there, were you?
No.
Okay, but this is your crime scene.
Yes.
So you're in charge of knowing the status of the crime scene and where everything was at the time it was first discovered.
Ultimately, yes, I am.
Okay. So let me ask you. The Nissan Versa, the red Nissan Versa, before anyone came to the assistance, before Mr. Cheeseborough showed up, was that car still on?
When I was there, no.
No, I'm asking, since it's your crime scene, when the first people showed up, to your understanding, it's your investigation.
I wasn't.
Speculation calls for hearsay.
Is he the lead detective?
Yes,
Okay, well, overruled on the speculation, and would your report contain all of that?
It doesn't. If the car was on or not. I know the lights were on. As far as the car was running, the door was open when I got there.
That's the next thing I'm going to ask you.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not
Sounds
certain.
like he doesn't know.
So you're not certain. Okay, so the car was running. Or is
Obviously-
that what you're not certain of?
Obviously, it was running when he pulled into the stoplight. When I got there, I don't recall if it was running. I know the lights were on, the door was open. I don't recall if the car was still running or not.
When you got there, the
When I
lights
got
of the
there.
car were on and the door was open.
The lights were on.
Right, the lights of the car were on and the door is open. And when we say the door, we're talking about the driver's side
That's correct.
front door. Okay. Now my question is, before you got there, before anyone got there, was that door open? That front driver's side door to the Versa?
It's my understanding it stayed closed until the paramedics or EMTs opened the door to check on the victim.
Okay. How about Mr. Drinks's feet? Were they on the brake?
I believe they were, yes.
How about the gas? Was one foot on the brake and one foot on the gas?
I don't recall that.
You don't know, or are you saying no, that's not true?
I don't know.
Okay, fair enough. And when one of your first tasks was to determine the identity of this gentleman, correct?
It's one of the first things, yes.
Okay, and you weren't the only one there. There were other officers there, correct?
Yes.
And among those officers was a representative from the gang unit, correct?
Yes.
Okay, Investigator Flores?
May have been. I don't recall.
Okay. Either way, even with the assistance of the gang unit on scene and all APD resources, no one recognized this gentleman, Mr. Drinks.
He was not officially identified until we did the fingerprint scan.
Right, and that was about 1:06 a.m. that next morning, correct?
It was while we were on scene. I don't know exactly what time it was.
Now, again, clearly, too many inconsistencies exposing the lack of a thorough investigation when it came to this case. Now, even more ironic, this is the same actual detective that was over the little ride situation with his case. Now, to be clear, we all seen exactly how that evidence was presented and gathered. So ask yourself this, what would make this situation actually be better? Now, even deeper, when it comes to this actual defendant, ask yourself this, are we forced to believe that SB is actually responsible based off of what this detective believed? Or do they have any type of proof that's actually concrete? Let's dig.
Do you often collect cellular phones?
Yes.
And that's from victims and suspects, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and the reality is, cell phones, if you're able to get into the cell phones and have authorization to get into cell phones, they have a wealth of information, correct?
Sometimes they do, yes.
They can have call logs. They can have contacts, correct?
Yes.
They can potentially have tracking information, who you're in contact with. Places you've been.
Yes.
You can learn a lot about a person from a cell phone, correct?
Yes, you can.
You can learn who their friends are.
Yes.
You can learn who their enemies are, potentially.
Potentially, yes.
Okay. In this case, as lead investigator, you are aware that actually 2 cell phones belonging to my client have been seized in this case, correct?
I believe so, yes.
And their contents have been extracted, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. Drinks, as lead investigator, did you ask the crime scene tech or crime scene tech Davis or any other individuals to seize or to collect Mr. Drinks' cell phone?
Yes.
Okay. And were you able ever able to analyze the contents of Mr. Drink's cell phone?
I don't recall that, no.
Okay, you don't recall ever seeing the contents?
No,
Okay, so as far as you recall, we don't know who is in Mr. Drink's contacts?
no,
We don't know what he's been texting about leading up to this incident?
no, I'm not aware of it.
Okay. Okay, and you're not aware because not saying that none of that exists in his cell phone, but you just haven't seen the contents of his cell phone?
That's correct.
Okay. All right. I want to talk to you about these videos, if that's okay.
Sure.
In the entire BP video, we see Shamal Drinks show up, correct?
Yes,
Okay, and again, no indication that anyone was expecting him to show up.
no,
Okay. While Shamal Drinks was present at the BP, he walks into the store, correct?
he does.
How many times does he walk in the store? Once or twice?
Just once.
Okay. Do you know who that person is? The person that Mr. Drinks was interacting with?
Do not.
Okay. Have you ever interviewed the clerk about what was going on in the store?
No,
Do you know who the clerk was?
no,
Okay. Throughout the entire time that Mr. Drinks is on the video, and quite frankly, Mr. Stillwell is on the video at the BP, Mr. Farley, or Mr. Nichols, do you see any interaction between Mr. Drinks and any of those three individuals?
no,
Do you see any hostility between Mr. Drinks and those three individuals?
no,
See any mean looks or anything, do you?
no,
Okay. In the BP video, besides the Ford Fusion, the Nissan Versa, and the Audi, did you know any other BP video?
no,
Okay. How about in the King's Liquor video when you see 3 cars driving up Windsor Street? Did you see any other cars that piqued your curiosity?
no,
Let's talk about the FedEx video. We do see the red Versa go up to the left lane, correct?
yes, we do.
And we do see what appears to be the white Audi, and especially when you link it up with the BP video, end up in the center lane, correct?
That's correct.
And then we do see the white Ford Fusion end up in the right lane.
Yes,
And we do see the white Audi run a red light, don't we?
we do.
Okay.
Sorry.
Wait a minute. Did y'all see that? Did the judge just actually distract the actual defense while he was up here tearing this actual investigator apart? What made the judge just knock that actual item to the floor? Now pay attention because right here, Shard almost was thrown off of his game, and I feel like that was actually planned by the state and the judge. Now it's interesting because you see, the whole prosecution's narrative is actually falling apart. But why did the judge actually step in? In my personal opinion, I feel like she just pulled a major distraction card. Let's dig.
Detective Bender helped you with the LPRs in this case, correct?
She did, yes.
And you consider this an important part of police work because you're able to track the movements of specific cars.
Yes,
And you, at that time, felt that the white Audi was a suspect car, correct?
I did.
And you wanted to track its movements.
yes,
And you thought the white Ford Fusion was a suspect car.
I did.
And you wanted to track its movements.
I did.
And Detective Bender was able to get you all that information about the movements of those cars, or I shouldn't say the movements, but different places in time and different times where the LPRs picked up those license plates throughout those 2 days that you ran them. I believe it was 2 days.
Yes, whatever she found, she was able to identify the tag numbers and the cars and where they were, yes.
Okay. As lead investigator, besides the Versa, besides the Audi, and besides the Fusion, did you ask Detective Bender to run LPRs on any other specific cars that you may or may not have seen in any of those videos?
I couldn't ask her to run something I didn't see, and there was no other cars. No,
No other cars that piqued your interest?
no, sir.
Okay. But let's try to work through this. On March 17th, you know that Mr. Stillwell was arrested
Yes.
on the warrants that you brought on March 16th.
Yes,
Okay, and he was arrested in Atlanta. He wasn't in another state or anything like that, correct?
correct, yeah.
Okay. And when he was arrested, he was actually still in the white Audi that he had extended the rental for, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And the Audi was collected as evidence, correct? Brought to police impound.
that's procedure, yes.
Okay. Are you not aware that crime scene technician Green, do you know who Antoinette Green is? Is she a crime scene technician with APD?
Yes.
Are you aware that she processed that car?
I don't recall for sure. I know I've done several cars with her before, but in this particular case, I don't recall being with her to process the car.
Do you, understood.
This particular car.
Do you recall a headliner was collected in this case, correct? You do know that.
I do not.
You don't know that the headliner of the Audi was collected as evidence in this case and analyzed?
It makes sense that it would be, but I don't
Okay.
recall that, no, sir.
In your experience, your expertise as an investigator, a homicide investigator, a headliner would be a very appropriate piece of the car to collect to check for gunshot residue.
Again, yes, sir, it makes sense. I'm sorry I don't recall.
And it should have gunshot residue in it if a gun is fired from within that car, correct?
If it has not been cleaned, yes.
Okay. No, as we sit here today, whether or not a GBI analyst tested that headliner for gunshot residue.
Do not.
You don't know what the results are either, do you?
No, sir.
Okay.
Yo, stop what you're doing real quick. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It's free. Hit the like button. Share the video. Hit the like button. Let's dig.
You took out warrants on March 16th, 2022 at 6:39 p.m., correct? For my client as well as Mr. Nichols and Mr. Farley.
Yes, well, 6:40 p.m., but yeah.
Okay, 6:40 p.m.
On the
And that
16th, yeah.
And that was right after, or shortly after you had that conversation with Investigator Viverito in police headquarters where she identified the people that were in the BP
That's
video.
correct. Yeah, her,
Okay.
the Sergeant Belknap, yes.
So once you had an identification from the BP, that's when you move forward with the arrest warrants against Mr. Stillwell.
That's correct.
Okay. All right, well, I want to talk to you about your analysis of the FedEx video. You have your report in front of you, correct?
I do?
Okay. At the time that you swore out these warrants against Mr. Stillwell, you had never even viewed that FedEx video, had you?
I don't think I got that till afterwards. I did speak with a representative who described it to me and sent me some still shots.
Okay, and I'm gonna go to page 14, going into 15 of your investigative report.
Okay.
On page 14, going to 15, you write, as of the writing of this report, and this report was written on 3/20/22, correct?
Well, that's when I started it, but yeah.
Okay, so you started this report 4 days after you you obtained the arrest warrants for Mr. Stillwell.
That's correct.
You started this report 4 days after that. Okay.
Yes.
And-
This part, now I had notes and all that stuff, but yeah.
Understood. And you say, as of the writing of this report, the actual video from FedEx has been requested via a subpoena, but has not been received. The above pictures were sent to me by a FedEx corporate officer who told me that he had watched a video which shows that the two white cars pulled up alongside the red Nissan, forming a straight line across the road. And then suddenly, the two white cars sped away against the red light, and the red car stays in place. That's verbatim from your report, correct?
Yes, sir.
And your report is accurate to that fact.
It is, yes.
You, at the time of writing this report, and certainly at the time of bringing out warrants against my client, you had not watched that FedEx video.
No.
But you had spoken to someone at FedEx corporate that sent you some still pictures, correct?
That's correct.
And had told you what they felt they saw on that video, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Who was that FedEx corporate officer who analyzed this FedEx video?
I don't remember.
Do you know that person to have any law enforcement training?
Not familiar with it.
Okay. Do you know how many times that person watched that video before giving you his or her conclusions about what the FedEx video contained?
No.
Okay. When did you finally receive the FedEx video?
I don't recall exactly when I got it.
Do you remember what month?
No, I don't remember.
When did you remember when you first watched that FedEx video?
I've seen it several times, but I don't remember when I first saw it, no.
Was it months after bringing out these arrest warrants on Mr. Stillwell?
No, it wasn't months. It was a few days probably.
Well, a few days would have been 4 days afterwards you started writing this report, and you didn't even have the FedEx video then. So could it have been longer than a few days before you watched the video?
It could have, yes, it could have been.
Okay. And of course, you brought those warrants on March 16th, 2022, without any gunshot residue results from that white Audi.
That's correct.
You said you saw a car in that video, the FedEx video. Ms. Hilton, could you play the U-turn on the video and you saw it was a little odd?
Yes.
It piqued your interest?
Well, it just, yeah, it did. I wouldn't say it piqued my interest. It just went with the situation, I guess.
I think you said you thought, on direct, you testified, you thought that the person driving that car may have heard or seen something, correct?
Yes, I did.
And the reason you say that is because that person driving that car abruptly made a U-turn.
Yes.
Okay. That's that's red Versa pulling up, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and that would be the white Audi.
Yes,
And that would be the white Fusion pulling up on the right lane, correct?
that's correct.
That's not the car that makes the U-turn, is it?
No, sir, I don't believe so.
Okay. And Mr. Stillwell is now running the light. He's no longer there, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. We see. Now this car pulls up and makes that interesting U-turn, correct?
Yes, sir.
Your determination is maybe they did that because they might have seen or heard something, correct?
Maybe.
Okay. I have no further questions. Thank you.
So let's dig. Now it's interesting because in my personal opinion, this case is actually already over. So let's talk about the inconsistencies with the investigation. We got a 20-minute gap, no gunshot residue, no eyewitness, no gunfire coming from the car, more cars on the road than the detective said, no information coming from the cell phone, no altercation at the gas station, no interaction. Make it make sense. Now, it's interesting. You wonder why the case was still pending and wasn't actually charged the first time? This is actually why. Did the state just get exposed again for lying? We just caught this detective on the stand back to back to back in his own lies. Then you didn't even know that the test got ran on the actual vehicle from that actual night? Man, stop. Who set this play up? And is these boys actually being framed? Is it safe to say that this is not in SB's? Why are these defendants actually still standing up here? Now, the whole body language when this actual detective was getting exposed right here by the defense, and definitely salute to YSL Sharp, because man, this investigation, the state's narrative, in my personal opinion, should have all just fell apart. This happened right in front of the jury. Just watch this man just get completely exposed to investigation, had no investigation. You just went off speculation, allegation, and what you were told? Man, so you telling me anybody can get charged at this point based off of he say, she say? That's sick. Now, the defense did actually do a good job pointing out the inconsistencies with this investigator and his stories because, again, on the road, it was more than just those 3 cars. Matter of fact, there was a person walking up and down the side of the actual road when they actually ran through the light, even before the U-turn. That person didn't even take off. But the person that was pulling up and did the U-turn heard something, and it spooked them more than the person that was right there on foot. Make that make sense. And did you see more than just 1 or 2 cars, or was it 3 or 4? Again, the prosecutor is falling apart when it comes to this case. In my personal opinion, man, I salute to these boys for standing 10 toes down and going all the way. Now, the state still did, in my personal opinion, get a win because now, as you see, they're actually ready to rest this case. After all of these defendants actually took the pleas, would you say that was still a W for the state? Man, y'all jump in the comments, let me know y'all's thoughts. If you're not subscribed to the channel, definitely subscribe. Who actually let the shot off? Did the state prove anything beyond a reasonable doubt? And if you was in the jury's shoes, what would you think? Did the defense actually just show out? And YSL Shard, that boy just went hard, shredding the whole investigation and the state's narrative apart. Remember, the greater the height, the greater the weight. Until next time, the life you save might be your very own. I'm your host, Jay. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed, and definitely turn that notification bell on. Tap the like button on your way out and jump in the comments and let me know y'all's thoughts. Till next time, gone.